So our next speaker is Ofri, who will talk about functional daylight echolocation in highly visual bats. And just wait for him to join the session while I set up the recording. Okay. Hey, Ofri, welcome.
Hey. So, should I say a few words before?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. So my name is Ofri Eitan. I'm from Tel Aviv University, from Yovel's lab. You're gonna watch a pre-recorded talk, and after that, I'm here to answer a few questions if you have. Thanks. Hi, my name is Ofri Eitan, and I'm a PhD candidate in Yovel's lab at Tel Aviv University. I hope that you can join me here in Tel Aviv on a small journey where I tell you about my study. Our journey begins in a public garden in Tel Aviv. I'm standing next to a bombax tree, and as you can see, dozens of bats are flying around the tree and feeding from its nectar. Bats are the second largest mammals order, with more than 1,400 species around the world. They are highly diverse and nocturnal. Not all of them. What? Some are active also during daytime? I'm sorry. Who are you? Ofri. I study bats. What? Ofri. So you're saying some bat species are also diurnal? Yes, come with me. I'll show you. Hey, wait. Where are you going? Do I need to bring my headlamp? Headlamps? Where we go, we don't need headlamps. Wow, this is nice. Where are we? São Miguel. It's in the Azores. Nice. Oh, wait, hey, look, I see a bat box. Oh, super cool. Are these bats active? What time is it? Super early. And what species is this? Nyctalus azoreum. And yes, as you can see, they are active during daytime. Okay, nice. But are there any more diurnal species? Yes, very few and most of them on islands. But why on islands? Well, it's hypothesized that the lack of natural predators, such as birds of prey, allows the bats expanding their niche and being active also during the day. Oh, interesting. Hey, but wait, I studied the Egyptian fruit bats in Tel Aviv, so yeah, I know. But some of them are also active during the day. What? Really? The Egyptian fruit bat is the largest bat in Israel, widely spread and lives in caves, abandoned buildings, and parking lots. Yes, I know that. Yeah, in the last 20 years, there are growing reports of bats that are active during the day. Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Nice, but what, only in Tel Aviv? Well, initially this is what we thought, but then more and more reports from other cities in Israel came. Oh, but what, only in the cities? That's a good question. We believe that in the countryside, the bats are more exposed to predation from birds of prey. But in the city, the bats can fly underneath the tree's canopy or between the buildings and being more protected. In addition, the fruit trees in the city are very close to the colony, sometimes less than 100 meters. Okay, so does anyone study these day bats? Yes, me together with my colleague M.Weinberg. But we started to study them thanks to a photographer.
Hey, I'm Dr. M.Weinberg. How can I help you?
Hi, my name is Yovel Barkai. For the last 3 years, I have photographed bats during the day. I have thousands of photos if you want to study them.
Wow, these photos are amazing. Sure, I'll be happy to.
Wow, look at these bats. They're smiling. Interesting.
Yes, Yossi, the bats are smiling. This is very interesting.
Do you know why it's interesting? She smiles to the camera. No, this means that they are doing echolocation. Some bat species are producing sound and use the retaining echoes in order to get a mental image of their surrounding. Yes, and Egyptian fruit bats, even though they have excellent vision, also use echolocation by producing clicks with their tongue. Exactly. When they do that, they look like smiling. Hey, but hold on. You don't mean they use echolocation during daytime, right? They have excellent vision. They don't need echolocation with such bright light. It's more than 10,000 lux. True, Rosetus is the only genus in his family that uses echolocation. Other species in the family also have excellent vision and they rely on that. Oh, this is surprising. Are you sure about it? Yes, this is why we started studying it. We previously showed that the Egyptian food bat uses echolocation even next to streetlights. Yes, but the light levels are not even close. Yes, this is why we started filming and recording the bats in their daytime activities in Tel Aviv. Come on, let's go. I'll take you to their colony. Are we going shopping? Haha, no, this is Dizengoff Center. It's a shopping center in central Tel Aviv. The colony lives in its underground supplier's parking lot. So, this is the entrance to the parking lot. I was standing here with an ultrasonic microphone and a video camera and recorded the bats while they were emerging. But I hope you only recorded them while they were outside. Excellent point. I was about 9 meters from the entrance and making sure I was only recording the bats while they were outside. Okay, and did I? I recorded a total of 500 emerging bats, and 72% of them were echolocating while they were outside. 72%, okay, like 50% if I remember 10, it's like, okay, 1, 2. $360 bats. This is a video of a bat emerging from the colony and echolocating. Nice! Look at this photo. You can see a mom carrying her pup and her echolocation clicks. You mean in the spectrogram? Yes, these are frequencies over time. You can see that she emits a few pairs of clicks. Does it always come in pairs? Yes, they always produce pairs of clicks. Okay, but so what? Maybe they're just used to do echolocation? True, we still needed to show that it's functional. Come on, let's go to our next location. Okay, but it's super hot. Is it far away? Oh, come on, it's only 400 meters from here. Okay, now what? Are we going to see a play? No, next to the theater there's a public garden where the bats like to forage. Oh, cool, wow, this is such a beautiful place. Look at the wisteria, it's huge. And the ficus trees, wow. And when we got here, we found bats that were resting on the wisteria plant, and every once in a while flying to forage on a ficus tree. But did the bat also echolocate here? Yeah, all of the bats were echolocating while flying next to the trees, landing, taking off, and even with a fruit in their mouth, as you can see in the video. Oh, wow, how did he do that? I don't know. I tried it with an apple in my mouth. And well. Okay, so the bats were resting, foraging, echolocating, but this is still not necessarily functional. Yes, that is true. So in order to check the functionality, we examined if the bats increased their click rate before landing. Well, they did. They significantly increased their click rate from about 12 clicks per second when flying in the open air to about 20 clicks per second just before landing. Oh wow, this really shows functionality. They changed the rate according to the task and the conditions. Exactly, but we wanted more proofs. Come on, do you like swimming? Me? Nah, just hate it. Why? I hate the sun, the sand, the heat, the water, the sand, the people. You're very social, huh? Oh, where are we? I thought you were taking me to the beach. Haha, this is an artificial pool where the bats like to come and drink. Here or where? I mean, I see the pool is partly divided by a large wall. Did they manage to do it? Yes, this is actually important, but I'll explain about it later. Okay, so when the bats come to drink, they open their mouth and drink directly from the pool? No, they actually dip their chest in the water and later lick their fur. Oh no, that's crazy. So again, you were recording and taking videos of the bats while drinking. Exactly, and we only chose successful attempts where the bats managed to touch the water. We divided the flights to two, approaching to the water and ascending to the open air after touching the water. Oh, so you knew exactly what the bat was doing in each part. I mean, echolocation wise. Exactly. And what were the results? Well, all bats echolocated while approaching the water surface, increasing their click rate during the approach to a peak rate of 31 clicks per second. And as far as we know, this is the fastest echolocation rate ever reported for Egyptian fruit bats. However, when the bats ascended from the water surface, they decreased their click rate to 0.6 clicks per second. Oh, 0. They almost stopped echolocating when flying in the open air. Yeah, exactly. Okay, but what about the wall? Okay, this is the interesting part. When the bats ascended from the water surface, they almost stopped clicking, but they started again while approaching the wall. Okay, this is functional. They control the rate, they change it according to the task, and they can even stop using it only to start again when needed. But is it different than in the night? Another great question. I also recorded the bats during the night and there was no significant difference. Oh, cool. So Egyptian fruit bats use echolocation during daytime even though they have excellent vision. But why? Why do they need it? I mean, why is it so important to echolocate even when you have a fruit in your mouth? Well, we believe echolocation provides the bats better distance estimation accuracy than vision, and that the integration of two sensory modalities, in this case vision and auditory, is beneficial to the bats. Yes, just like we integrate vision and hearing before we cross the road. Exactly. Oh wow, that was nice and very interesting. Thanks for showing me around and sharing your research with me. And thank you for joining us here in Tel Aviv. Bye bye. And cut. That's it? Are we done? Are you crazy taking me out walking around in Tel Aviv in mid-July? Man, it's almost 100 degrees in the shade. Seriously, this was a nightmare. Daymare. Hi, thanks for watching. And if you want to read more about this study, you can find it in the April issue of Current Biology. And if you want to see more exciting things our lab does, go to yovel.com. Bye. Bye.
Thank you for that great video. It was a really fun watch. I think we already have people appreciating it on the YouTube chat. Detima says that was really interesting, lovely presentation. So does David McCluskey. Sheetal has a question. She's asking if these clicks for a prolonged time even during the day, or do they make the clicks for a short duration only when they emerge out?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So Sheetal asks if the clicks are produced for a prolonged time even during the day, or if they only make the clicks for a short duration when they emerge out.
Okay, so that's a good question. The bats, fruit bats, they don't use echolocation all the time. They use it only when they have obstacles. So basically, it means that when they leave the cave, they usually use echolocation. But after that, if they are flying very high in high altitudes, when you don't have any reflectors or anything that they can crash into, so they stop echolocating. But then they start again when they are foraging next to trees or anytime they have an obstacle.
Okay. So there's another question from Lucy. She asked, do we know why they echolocate by pairs of clicks? Why is it always in pairs?
So yes, the idea, it's complicated, but I'll try to explain. The idea of using parallel clicks. So what we showed, like my PI showed in 10 years ago, so that they emit the clicks one to the right and one to the left, one to the right and one to the left. So this means that they scanned in much more of the environment when they do that.
The more congratulatory messages in the YouTube chat. We also have a question from Adelaide. She says, hi, Ofri, thank you for the great talk. You mentioned that echolocation during daytime was mainly used to navigate in combination with vision for accuracy, but can it also be used for foraging?
Yes, it uses for foraging. This is in the trees. This is what they do when they land on the tree. They scan the tree and then they land. So it's so what we show here is it's also when they emerge, when they forage, and when they drink. They use echolocation all these times.
While we wait for more questions from the YouTube chat, we have a few more minutes. So you mentioned something like that they start using it when they are approaching obstacles, right? So I assume then that there's some sort of basal level of echolocation that they are doing to know when they are near obstacles, and then once they start getting closer and closer, they start increasing the rate. Is that how it works? Or?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So it's another thing. This is what we showed at the I'll explain insectivore bats that use echolocation. What it's been shown for years that they increase the rate of the echolocation. Okay, so they start from like a large interval between the calls, and then like when they approach the obstacle or the target or the mosquito or whatever their target, they increase the rate, and this is something that we call buzz. It sounds like a buzz, like bzz, something like that. And what we show here is that actually the Egyptian fruit bats also do something like that. They increase the rate just before landing. And then this helps them. It's just like when you take reverse with your car, and that in the beginning it's that the interval between the beeps is larger, but then when you reach the obstacle, it becomes shorter and shorter. This is basically what happens in bats in usual when they use echolocation.
There's still some more thank you messages in the YouTube chat for answering the questions. We have maybe time for one or two more. I was wondering, so you mentioned that during the day they can rely on both vision and echolocation, right?
Yeah.
So do they fly better during the day? Has anyone compared their flight patterns during the day versus the night to see if using two modalities make them better?
That's a great question. This is not something that we've tested. It's something that we wanted to test, but it's not in this specific study. But it's something that is very interesting. That is true.
There's a question by Elise in the YouTube chat. She asks, thank you for the very interesting talk. Do human activity noises disturb their echolocation during daylight?
So this is something that we tested in the lab. It's actually very hard to interfere with their echolocation calls. We used white noise. White noise basically it's uses all the frequencies, so that should interfere somehow. But what we saw it doesn't interfere, so it's actually very hard to make the bats rely only, for example, on one modality, just rely on vision. They still use echolocation. There are some, that like with insectivore bats that sometimes they change the frequency a bit, but it's there's a long debate about it. So it's there's a long debate what happens there.
There's a question by Sheetal. She asks, which is given priority, visual or echolocation?
We tested it in previous papers, and as much as I recall, there was no significant difference between them. So they basically rely on both of them.
There's a question by Valentin, who's one of the organizing committee members. He asked, how costly is echolocation for the bats? If it's a bit, would it mean that they would prefer simpler, less complex environments to move
Yeah, it's a good
around?
question. For insectivore bats, it's very it's energetic. It's very costly. This is why insectivore bats, they coupled the wing bit with the call, so it's synchronized. But with the Egyptian fruit bats, it doesn't. It doesn't seem like so. It doesn't seem like it's more costly than others. I guess there is some cost of energy, but it's not like insectivore bats.
I think that's nearly the end. I had one last question. I was very interested in it. So do we know when these bats start flying out in the day? Do they do it from when they start flying, or is there a gradual transition from them, say, flying in the night when they are younger, and then transitioning to flying in the dark, in daytime when they're older?
This is something that we don't know. We don't know what is the cause. We are trying to test it, and actually it's like something that we just test now is like the benefits of going outside. It gives we see a difference in the vitamin D and in the calcium levels and in the bone density. So we hypothesize that maybe that's one of the reasons that they're living outside.
Very nice. Thank you for the great talk. I think that's all we have for now. If
Okay.
anyone has more questions for Ofri, please ask in the Discord channel. And yeah, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.